Welcome back to Worldview. Now, on Monday, the pilot for a new television show about art for art's sake premiered on Facebook. It's a joint project with Chicago PBS station WYCC-TV called The High Road, where culture and commerce are frequent travelers on a multimedia platform. It's hosted by two veteran Windy City leaders, Monroe and Ed Tracy. Their goal is to discuss the beauty and business of art for art's sake. Now, many know Monroe from his local CBS program, Common Ground, and as an op-ed contributor to both the Chicago Tribune and the Sun-Times, as editor of Savoy magazine and former press secretary to Chicago Mayor Eugene Sawyer. His partner in this venture is Ed Tracy. Now, Ed oversaw the construction of the opening of the Pritzker Military Library, and he's the host of the broadcast Medal of Honor, where he interviewed more than 30 recipients of the USA's highest honor for valor in combat. Monroe Anderson, welcome to Worldview.
Thank you, Dennis. It's good to be here.
Pleasure to have you. So, we have art and multimedia together on the same platform. Talk a little bit about the project and how you got to where you are today.
Ed was doing a military show, and he got to a point where he had done it for 8 years, and he wanted to do something that was more fun. And nothing is more fun than the arts. Now, as you know, I've been and continue to do writing about politics. I blog on it. I write for The Root. I've written for HuffPo. And I had my own political blog. But Ed approached me about doing the arts, and it was immediately attractive to me because I'm married to an artist, Joyce Owens, an internationally known artist. She has some of her artworks hanging right now at the U.S. Embassy in Sweden and the U.S. Embassy in Swaziland. And there have been other places. And I've written a novel that I couldn't get an agent for. So it's collecting dust, but I will self-publish at some point if I can't find someone to publish for me. Anyway, I have a love of the arts. I've been on the board of the Arts Alliance Illinois since the mid-'90s. And so this is my cup of tea.
You know, Monroe, so much of today's news affects art, but it's not always positively. You know, and you come from such a brilliant city there in Chicago where it's so easy to take for granted. I mean, I can remember standing in front of that brilliant 7 by 10 meter portrait by George Seurat, the Sunday afternoon one, in your art institute, and then being able that evening to go to the performing arts like Second City. I mean, your city lays such claim to much in the world of arts and literature, yet why do the arts struggle so for recognition?
Because in America, unlike in some European countries, art is not appreciated unless it's canned art, shall we say, or old art. Now, if it's traditional, then it's okay, but since much of art is not traditional, in fact, the whole point, I think, of art is to push the inside of the envelope, to go into new territory, to experiment. And America's politicians in particular are not comfortable with that. And so we don't fund the arts in the same way that the French or the English do.
You know, it's interesting you talk about the government involvement. I mean, I have to go all the way back to the 2003 invasion of Baghdad, where, you know, there you were in the cradle of civilization as we know it, so close to the hanging gardens of Babylon, and that invasion, it just left these irreplaceable artifacts of works of art unguarded to looters, but yet The Ministry of Oil was protected. What do you make of such a cavalier attitude towards culture and history?
This is a problem. People, and this is most people, take art for granted. They think that artists either have a natural talent for, a God-given talent, so that's the way that they did it. Or they think that it's, particularly with visual arts, they think, well, they'll see something and say, oh, I could do that. Fortunately, with writing, people aren't quite as cavalier about it, because with writing, if you write poorly, then people won't read you. And everybody who tries to write learns that fairly quickly. And plus, it really is hard work. But painting, my wife is a visual artist. I'm going to do something and just tip that up. So that's one of her paintings. They're all over the place. They're all kinds here. And then again, Joyce Owens, a little plug for her. So she'll speak to me tonight. But anyway, she has an MFA from Yale University, but still people want her to contribute art for their charities for free, with the notion that it'll help promote her if she's giving away her art. And getting back into politics in the U.S., when she gives her art away, the only tax break she can get is cost of materials. And that's nothing. And in fact, sometimes she uses found objects to make the art. So she's literally just giving away 30 years of experience and all the hours and time it goes into creating something and getting nothing in return. This is part of, and with the show, the High Road, what we want to do is discuss all aspects of art and various disciplines. We're going to do dance, jazz, blues, visual arts, literature, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But in many instances, Ed and I will not only talk about art for art's sake, but we'll also talk about art for the sake of the bottom line. Because frequently people don't realize that art is a business. It's not just people out looking at clouds and putting them, writing poems about them and sticking in their drawer.
We're talking with Monroe Anderson. He and his partner Ed Tracy have something called the High Road Multimedia Project here on Worldview with Dennis Campbell. Monroe, when I first moved to Europe 15 years ago, I remember standing on ground in my wife's birth village as it celebrated its 1200th anniversary as a village. Now, I'd just left Nashville, Tennessee, where I'd lived for 6 months, and there was a campaign there to save an 85-year-old building called the Jacksonian. It was an apartment building, which was later to become a Walgreens drugstore. Why is it so hard to preserve art and its history in so much of the USA? Is it just a matter of perspective?
Yeah, it's also, we are a throwaway culture, as you know. I mean, we buy our water in plastic bottles that throw the plastic away. We could have gotten it out of a faucet to begin with. We go to fast food stores and buy Big Macs or something like that, eat them and throw the wrappings on the ground or someplace. With our buildings even. I live in a house that was built in 1889. If I sell it tomorrow, somebody's going to raise it and build a brand new McMansion that looks like it's old. I mean, we waste things around here. And it keeps America youthful to some extent because we're always on to the next thing. But there's not enough of protecting and honoring our tradition, and that goes that goes very well in the arts. Where you get things like performance art, where somebody's walking around nude in the middle of town or something, and that passes for art.
Well, it's interesting that you say what you said about McMansions and the lack of a real deep understanding. I mean, I'm sitting on ground where just at the foot of the hill outside the building where we record this is a monastery from circa 1000, and next to it is a pub which was built from the timbers of ships crashed on the rocks below 500 years ago as people came back from the spice trade. Why is it so hard? What have we got to do to preserve our history, and what can this program do to help history and art for the future?
Well, what the program can do, this is the plan. We'll see how it works, but what the program will do is educate people and advocate for the arts. Talk about traditional arts and the current arts, and sometimes make the link. For example, hip-hop, which the young people love, is really just a reinvention of the blues. And Chicago is the blues capital of the U.S. And some of my best friends, in fact, Sugar Blue wrote the theme song for the High Road. He plays the theme song for the High Road. Sugar Blue played with the Rolling Stones. He's the harmonica player on Miss You, and a good friend of mine. And and so there's not enough discussion about the arts. And what I'm looking forward to is taking this on, and because we're not on a huge network like CBS, we can sort of be under the radar and have a dedicated audience, because there are lots of art lovers out there, but not of broadcast numbers, but definitely of narrowcast numbers.
Well, Monroe, I wish you best of luck with the new program, and I hope you're able to not only reach the people that you know are lovers of art, but awaken so many more to the wonders. Thank you for doing the work you do and for joining us here today.
Okay, Dennis, it's been a pleasure.
Monroe Anderson and Ed Tracy are the producers and hosts of the High Road Multimedia Project on PBS station WYCC in Chicago. Now, you can learn more about The High Road on Facebook.com/The High Road Multimedia, where you can see the pilot broadcast and follow them on Twitter at The High Road Guys. And soon you'll be able to follow their High Road podcast. You're watching Worldview with Dennis Campbell. Keep it right here.